YouTube, Washburn Wing Series guitars. This might be quite a long video. I've going to try and do this sort of definitive, as far as I know, Wing Series YouTube video, which there aren't really any of. I think I did one when I had 3 of them, so now I've got more. So the Wing Series originally started off in 1978, I think. It might be around about there. They were originally made by Yamaki, and there were 2 in the line. There was the Hawk and the Falcon. This is the Falcon. This is a Hawk, but it's a later one. This is the original. There was originally the Hawk. As I said, there was the 2 of them. See if you look here, where it's kind of like a square contact in here. On these ones, the original ones had a wee bit of a volute there, and the input was on the front. But apart from that, they were pretty much the same. Then they expanded the range by bringing out a top of the range one, which was the Eagle, and the budget one, which is a Raven, which I'm starting with here. This one was yellow, which I can tell if you look inside the scratch plate and behind the pickups and stuff like that. It used to be yellow at some point, but someone's stripped it down. There's a really good website called, I think it might be called wings.org, or is that something to do with Scotland independence? Something like that. If you look up G3 or something, rings a bell. And it kind of runs through a lot of these models. It's really good. It's worth having a look at if you're interested in these. And there's also a little bit on Matsumoku.org, even though none of these were made in Matsumoku, apparently. This is all just what we think, or what I think, from various sources. So this, starting at the lowest to the end of the range, this is carved top. These pickups are Goto, not Goto with an H, G-O-T-O, so I don't really know what that means. Get brass saddles and nice bridge, 2 volumes, 2 tones, 3-way switch. This is a set neck, not a set neck, a bolt-on neck, as you can see here. It's actually 6 bolts. That's 4 on the back, and there's 2 in behind this pickup. So you call it like a long tenon neck joint, or whatever you call it. The main advantage with that is the fact that it's you can put the strap button here, which I'll go into later on. So this one balances really well. Yep. So I've been having an ongoing fight with the Daegu. He keeps making noise when I'm trying to sleep, and every time I play the guitar, he gets up and makes noises. So that noise is not interference, even though I did buy a special mic, which is down there. Hopefully I should be talking to it down there. So he'll be making noise during this video. That's what the noise is. It sounds like a Daegu. My pal David actually printed out that logo, for you can see it at an angle there. It's because this one, because it's been stripped, obviously it lost its logo. This one still has the original George Washburn tuners on it, which is nice. If you look up that, the serial number is GF810243, so that'd be a 1981, and we think these are made by Cushion back then. Just playing it all through this wee Laney VC15. That was clean. That just shows you how powerful these pickups are. Might angle the camera down just a tad. Just you can still get the headstock in. There you go. Yep. Neck pickup. Pick up the volume up. So this one being the baby, the budget one, it's amazing what you get away with a budget one these days. You know, the brass saddles and the carved top and all these things. Not really a budget guitar. It really kicks above like what Gibson are doing these days. one of the later Ravens, even though it's 1981. I think they only made 81. I think was the only year they made these. 1980 and 81, when they had the range consisted of Raven, Hawk, Falcon, Eagle, and got into the bases later. Where was I? Don't know. Anyway, if you look up that wings, it's too strong. The wings page I was talking about. It's, you can tell by the shape of this cavity. This is the hexagonal one, but these were, if you look up, it says they're made of either plywood or mahogany, and it's like, not plywood. Pretty sure that's not mahogany. Not sure exactly what it is. Is it ash maybe? I don't know. I think it's a mahogany neck, to be fair. There's something not quite right with the electrics in this one. It seems to have a wee bit of a buzz going on. I haven't touched it since I got it, so I might shield the cavity because this one's just open-ended. So if I run through that just now, that would be the Raven. Yeah. And at the time when they had the original 4, there was also, oh god, this is heavy, the Scavenger base, which I'm going to try and play through this wee amp anyway, see what happens. This is an unbelievably heavy base. I got this one. I got to mention there's a neck volute in the back, so it doesn't snap if you drop it. Gibson, yeah, got a wee thing there. Yep. This one is bolt-on neck as well, and the serial number is CC80. So this is a 1980 Washburn Scavenger. It's the heaviest thing in the universe. The bridge, I don't know if you can see it there. You can see that the bridge is sitting on top of this square piece of metal which weighs like, I'm no good with weights. Bloody lot. It would knock you out if it fell on your head. Brass saddles, DiMarzio style pickups. This one doesn't have like an extended thing under the neck, but look how little of the neck there is in the body there. I was quite concerned about that, but it's survived 30 years no problem, and it seems absolutely solid. So I think maybe if you just make it to a very high standard, you can get away with things like not having a tiny neck pocket. And that's for a base as well. This one I got cheap because it's actually really badly damaged, which you can't actually see when I cleaned it up. It looked 100,000 times better. These aren't the original knobs. They're very similar. See the ones with sort of notches on them? They're cool. They're my favourite kind of knobs like this. Also, I don't have the original tuners. It had 2 tuners on it and 2 P-bass tuners, which looks very lopsided. You can see all the extra screw holes from when I had the P-bass tuners. These are just modern. I don't know where they came from. In fact, I think maybe Yamaha. I think they came off a Yamaha fretless I had. Yeah, so that's the... So if you go up the range on the basses, there's one which I don't have because they're too expensive. I haven't seen one cheap enough yet. There's one called a Vulture, which is a bass kind of version of the Falcon. This I just did a video for yesterday, so I'll keep it short and sweet. This would be a later on Hawk, which I'll miss it out. I'll go straight into the Falcon just now. So the Hawk from the early range, like from 1980, 82, maybe even up to 83. This one serial number is 80, so this is 1980. This one. John Fogerty very famously played one of these. If you ever look up any videos on YouTube, John Fogerty, the 80s. It's got a dodgy input, this one. That's not the guitar's fault, it's my fault for not fixing it. So this one comes with, as you can see, it's a 5-piece neck through. Look at that big scoop there, ridiculous, isn't it? Through strum. This is called a power sustain pickups in this one, which are probably made by Goto, not sure. A lot of people think they're DiMarzios. They're very like DiMarzios, but I don't think they are. And this has got a slightly upgraded bridge from the one in the Raven. It's not that different, but it does have, see if you look in the top here, there's wee Allen bolts which you can clamp up, which clamp all the brass saddles together, called harmonic lock. It's like pretty cool. This one has push-pull pots on it as well for coil splits. actually called Coiled Defeats. If you look up the original spec on these, that switch was already in it when I got it, so I just made it into a kill switch. This is a very, very high spec guitar. Might not be a very in tune guitar, it's got a brass nut as well. And check the fret markers, sort of brass inlays. This one's lost its original Washburn tuners and has Grovers fitted to it. At some point I will take the Washburn tuners off the Raven and put them on this, I think, just to make this one a bit more original. Not in tune, so I might just tune it while I'm talking about it. Come on, tuner. Oh, I need to buy a tuner. F? Really? These are just, I just took these out of storage up the loft because when I bought the black one, the black Hawk there. But the Hawk, which is from this era, from the Yamaki, these are made by Yamaki, who made Dion, D-A-I-O-N guitars as well, which they've got one that looks very similar to this, apart from it's got like one of the horns is slightly longer and one of them slightly shorter, which look pretty good. But there's something about the Dions, I don't really like the shapes aren't very pretty. They're a bit sort of looking, whereas I think that these are absolutely gorgeous. Yep. Turning the wrong tuner. Should have tuned it before I picked it up. Hopefully the Eagle's in tune. And then the Hawk should be in tune as well because I was playing it yesterday. Yeah, okay, we're in. Right. Oh god, this is a heavy thing. So this has got I think it's an ash back. It's maple and I can't remember. Is it walnut or maple and rosewood? 5-piece neck through. It's got a solid rosewood top, like a cap on it, which is like an inch thick. Again, this is a carved top. It's stunning. See how it's rooted in. It's nice and it's indented below the volume controls. And a brass pickup selector. Yeah, oh sorry, neck pickup as well, I suppose. Also, Manny from Nazareth played one of these as well. I have seen this one has a dark painted back, whereas I've seen ones that have got a light coloured back on it as well. My pal Wayne's got an Eagle that's got a light coloured back that looks very much like this. Notice it has matching wooden truss rod control cavity covers. So like, wow, who does that? It's also got a wooden truss rod cover on the front. I mean, this is top-notch stuff. Absolutely ridiculous. So the Hawk from this era, which I have actually bought one, my pal in Denmark's picked one up for me, managed to get one in a trade somewhere, and it's getting sent over. So the Hawk, which would be like this, is very similar. I think it's got the same pickups. I think it's still got the push-pull pots on it, still got the carved top, but it's only got a 3-piece instead of a 5-piece neck through, and it's made of whatever this wood is in the back. I think it's ash, so it doesn't have a cap on it. It's just that wood all the way through. So it's maybe not quite as fancy. I'm quite looking forward to seeing it though, because I mean, and it won't have the fancy ring inlays and possibly less binding on it. This has got a bound head, bound neck and bound body, and ebony fretboard. And it's getting a new output jack. So we'll coil it up. So apparently the reason John Fogerty stopped using this, which was his favourite guitar, was because he was getting into trouble for not using American guitars, since he's an American hero. And although there's a lot of people that totally think that these are American, because apparently at one point, in the early 80s when they were doing it, what Washburn were doing, they had a guy, when they went into America, they were going in and putting Made in USA stickers on the back of them when they got them in from Japan, which seems a bit wrong. So this is the Super Deluxe version, which is the same neck through with the scoop, but you can't see that it's a neck through. And it's also got the wooden control cover, but you can't see because it's been painted white. The main difference between this one and the Falcon is it's got a comfort cutaway on the back here. See, it's got this bit here. That's not on the Falcon or the original Hawk. It's actually, I think this is gold hardware, would you say? No, maybe not. Don't know. So this has got its original tuning. See, look at the mother of pearl all the way around the headstock. It's got an ebony fretboard with sort of washburn wing fretting boards. Look at the bling all the way around the body. It's absolutely ridiculous. You get the same harmonic lock bridge with the Allen bolts that lock it up. The same power sustained pickups. This one's got metal knobs, which, although they do look cool, I don't know if I really like them that well. Obviously I can't get rid of them now because it's this original guitar, and the brass toggle switch tip. And through strung, so I'll give it a bit of noise in this. So this one does sound slightly different from the Falcon. It's got a maple cap apparently in below the white, so I wonder if that the whole tone wood thing does actually make a difference. I don't know. It does seem a bit different. I also moved the strap button to here to try and cope with the bad balance these have. They want to sit, well this one doesn't because I've moved the strap button, but they kind of want to sit horizontally, which I think is a sign of the times. Maybe in 1980 that's what most people did, that kind of thing, but for me I want it at an angle like this. So moving the strap button does seem to have done something for that. That's what I was saying earlier on about the Raven having actually an advantage over this one, because you can't actually put, there's nothing here to put the strap button on. You don't want to put it away in. No, I don't want to put it in there. I don't want to be cutting holes in this guitar if I can avoid it. It's had a wee bit of neck damage, this one. So still brass nut. I don't think that is actually, is that a wooden, I'm not sure that is a wooden truss rod cover, it might just be plastic. I don't know. This one is from 1981, so it's still Yamaki as well. But stunning. It's like, these are the guitars that I bring out when I'm showing off to people. Pick up. The white one is apparently, and the Eagle itself is apparently a sort of signature model for Nancy Wilson from Heart. If you look up Washburn Eagle on Google Images, you see there's an advert of her playing one of these, although I think she's got a vibrato on it. You can get, well, there is a Hawk V, or an Eagle V, which has got the vibrato. I'm not sure about which ones in the range are available with the vibrato bridge. That's the Daegu running in his wheel at the bottom today. It's meant to be a silent wheel, but it's not very silent. Yep, did I say ebony fretboard again? Yeah, so moving on. So that was the original range, was the four. Originally it was just the Hawk and Eagle, Hawk and Falcon. Then from the 80 to 82, 83 there was These were still made by Yamaki. They added one at the bottom of the range which wasn't made by Yamaki, made by Tushin, to go with the Scavenger base at the same time as well, and the Eagle being the fancy one. My pal Wayne's got an Eagle which looks very, very, very much like the Falcon, and really the only difference is it's got fancier, it's got like gold piping around the edge of the neck, and it's got the cutaway on the back, like the comfort contour I showed you there, rather than just being square. But apart from that, it seems to be pretty much exactly the same guitar. You wouldn't really be able to tell the difference between the two if you didn't know. I think his has actually got, instead of being brass inlays, it's they're still circular, but they're made of platinum, I think, or something like that, some precious metal. So after 82 or 83, there was a factory change. Yamaki closed down, and they sold off all the parts to, I think, Tushin again, and then they continued making wings for a couple of years. This is the more modern Hawk. So I think this is from 1982 to 1983, 1984, and possibly 1985. The Hawk looked like this. So now we've got, well, it doesn't have a Floyd, it shouldn't have a Floyd Rose, but it had a locking trem system similar to this that broke, which is a shit one, because with the Telecaster had it as well, and it's just a bad design. So it's still got the push-pull pots. It's now got eliminator pickups. It's now a flat top instead of being carved, and it's now a set neck instead of being that big, through neck. And it's lost some. It's basically just more like what you'd expect a guitar to be like these days. It's got a much thinner neck, much more modern shreddy neck than what these two have. They've got like a big slat. Is it a D section? It's kind of like almost square as opposed to being a C section, I think. Interestingly, that even though this is a Hawk, it's got that the comfort contour on the back that the Eagles only ever had. So I don't. Maybe it does help. So that's why. So the thing about straps, I always use this one out with brakes. So it's possible that these are left over from the Yamaki factory and then finished off by Tushin to make them into these. When they changed the factory, the Raven no longer made that. They made one called a T-Bird instead, which is it's like a cheaper version of this. It doesn't have the carved top, it's the flat top. It might only have, I think the controls are in a slightly different order. Instead of having like 4 like a Les Paul, I think it's got 3 in a row, and the pickup switch might be here, which seems a bit strange. I've not actually seen one of them. It might be called, it's a T-Bird, and there's also one called an SB40, I think. I'm not really sure. That I wasn't they're not as high quality. Well, they're as well made, but they're not as ridiculously well spec'd. These ones, notice they've got a dot on the first fret as well, rather than just starting on the third like most guitars do. It's also on the edge, which is pretty cool. I did a video of this the other day, so it's not really that much new about it. So, also when they changed the factory, they continued making the Falcon, but I think it went to being a set neck as well, and I think it might have lost its carved top, and I don't know if they continued making the Eagle. It's kind of funny, look at these things. They didn't really keep records, and I think these were pretty much handmade, like all of them. So you do get ones that are crazy colours. That I saw, there was a gold top one went on eBay 6 months ago or a year ago, and it was really expensive because it's not listed in any of the catalogues and like that as existing. But I think if you're hand making them, you can produce 10 that are a different colour just to see what happens, and then just move on and never make them again. Depends if somebody buys them or not. I think by far the most popular Falcon is this one, just because it looks absolutely stunning. Really, you can get one with there's a maple cap one. There's a sunburst one. I think that might be it. I've seen there's an Eagle that looks like this, apart from, as I said before, the slightly fancier binding and stuff on it. And there's also a black one, which kind of looks like this, apart from when it's got the spangly mother of pearl around the outside. It really does look pretty stunning. Yeah, so basically in my wing series just now, this was I just had to buy this. I quite like the idea of having a Floyd Rose on it as well, but I also noticed this actually says Hawk on it. I believe that in 1984 when we were making these, the Falcon said Falcon on it, and if they made an eagle it would have said Eagle on it. And there's definitely a T-Bird, which I'm not 100% sure what it is, or whether a T-Bird is an SB40 or whether it's two different models. But I think the T-Bird was basically a replacement of the cheaper Raven, and then they kept the rest the same. So I think I'll probably just leave it at that. I have managed to talk for 25 minutes about guitars. Also, there was reissues which came out in, I think it was about the 90s. I'm not really sure how they stack up to these because I've not seen one. They still get the same shape. They don't have the best upper access of all guitars, but look at them. As I said, it's like these are the guitars that I show out when people come round and go, oh, I like a Fender Stratocaster and a Gibson Les Paul, and it's like, oh yeah, fuck that, look at these. You know, they absolutely, totally take the piss out of them, and they're significantly cheaper. I think if you go back in time, I don't think there's that many people that would have the whole range. It's just because of eBay and the ability to get these things that I can get. Obviously, I'm not paying thousands of pounds for each one. Whereas I think when they were new, they were kind of like, you know, £700-800 in 1983, which was like a car, or you know, if you the lot would have, you'd be able to buy a house with the money for the full range. But then after that they went cheaper, but the only way you could ever buy them was if you bought them in the paper and a wanted ad, so you're only ever really going to find ones that are close by, and there was no information on them anyway. You see a lot of them advertised, or you used to, but it's like, oh, it's a Hawk, and it's not a Hawk, it's a, you know, an Eagle, or you get them mixed up because nobody actually knows. You know, when they bought it in 1981 they were told it was a Hawk, but it's actually a Falcon they've got, or they've told it a Falcon, it was actually a Hawk. Yeah, so as I said, the one I really want but I can't get is the Vulture, which is a bass, but it looks like this, so it's a neck through, it's got the brass inlays. There's actually a Vulture 1 and a Vulture 2. One of them's got like a P bass pickup, and one of them has a P bass pickup and a jazz bass pickup, I think, or two P bass pickups. That would be the Vulture 1 and 2, and they were made at the same time. They were in this early run. I'll be doing an updated version of this video in a couple of months' time when I get the Hawk that goes in, it fits in here in the thingy, in the range, rather than being the later on one. So, and I say down spec, it's only down spec because I've seen these things, you know, and it's just the build quality on them is absolutely silly. It really is. It's totally, I've not really seen guitars like that, and I've had some really expensive guitars. I've tried the Les Pauls in town and stuff. I didn't actually have any of these when that famous day when I decided that I was going to buy myself and pay it up, get myself a real Les Paul standard. So I went into Guitar in town, and there they were on the wall. They had like 20 of them, you know, half a dozen in each colour, and it was like, okay. It's not really very rare, but so I tried it and I was like, this is going to be the best guitar ever, and it was like, yeah, it's nice. Yep, it's good, but it doesn't have that rarity thing. I mean, I'm a sucker for, you would see, like, especially things like that black one. It's like, oh, never seen one of them before, might never see another one again, got to buy it now. And you just don't really get that with the Les Pauls, I don't think, anyway. And to be honest, these two anyway are better built. That's about the same built, and that's Les Paul Studio, something like that maybe. If these didn't exist, that would be a shit hot guitar, but nobody knows what they are. It's like Washburn have, like a lot of the Japanese ones. Ibanez is the one that sticks out as not having done this, but Washburn they just went to Korea and just produced super strats, and it's like they're still good guitars, but the quality went right down after about 1987, 1988, when you started deciding that rather than making guitars that were better than Les Pauls but the same price, they would make guitars that were much, much, much cheaper So you can't, why would you buy a Gibson for £500? You can buy this one for 120. And it's like, whereas back then it was like, oh, you can buy a Gibson for 700 quid, 800 quid brand new, or you can buy this for 700 or 800 quid brand new, which is a better guitar. And it's like, well, if you'd bought the Gibson would now be worth a couple of grand or a grand or something. These aren't. So hopefully one day I will be able to retire on these. Rock and roll. I'll talk for another 25 seconds just to make it up to my first half-hour video. I don't know actually. Damn it, I actually have a limit how big a video I'm allowed to upload. I'll sign off right now, so in case it is half an hour. Rock and roll, Washburn wings. Don't bid on them on eBay or anything like that, especially if you see a hawk. Especially if you have a vulture, don't bid on it. Shit, you don't want it. No, it's like it'd just be a waste of money. Rock on.